There is a bomb in the sky. It has already gone off. You just don't know it yet. Every night, human beings look upward and register permanence, a fixed ceiling, a reliable architecture, the same constellations their ancestors named, mapped, and worshipped. This perception is not astronomy, it is a cognitive error. The sky is not a canvas, it is a crime scene in slow exposure. The constellation Coronae Borealis, the Northern Crown, 7 dim stars arranged in a delicate arc, unassuming, catalogued, classified as background. The second star from the left edge of that arc carries a designation, T Coronae Borealis. It sits at magnitude 10, invisible to the naked eye, invisible on the best nights, through clear air, without instruments. It has been invisible for most of recorded human history. That is about to change. Not because something new is beginning, but because something that already ended is finally arriving. The timer on this system did not start ticking in 2026, it started ticking 3,000 years ago. The mechanism completed its full cycle before the Roman Republic existed, before the Iron Age closed, before the word star was spoken in most living languages. The detonation is not coming, the detonation is en route. It has been en route since the Bronze Age, and the leading edge of that detonation is now, by every available calculation, within the margin of arrival. We are not watching a star about to explode. We are watching a message of destruction that has crossed 3,000 light-years of vacuum and is now close enough to read. T Coronae Borealis is not a star, it is a system, a binary configuration, 2 objects in gravitational lockstep, and the relationship between them is not a partnership, it is an extraction. The first object is a red giant, a dying star of considerable mass in the late stage of stellar evolution. Its outer layers have expanded and cooled. It has become bloated, diffuse, its plasma loosely bound to its own gravitational center. It is old. It is weakened. It is, by every structural definition, compromised. The second object is a white dwarf, a stellar corpse, the compressed remnant of a star that already completed its life cycle, collapsed inward, and crystallized into a dense, dead sphere, roughly the diameter of Earth. It generates no new energy. It produces no fusion. It simply exists as a gravitational trap, and it is positioned close enough to its red giant companion to exploit the companion's structural weakness. The mechanism is continuous, uninterrupted, precise. The white dwarf's gravity reaches across the orbital boundary and strips material from the red giant's outer envelope, plasma, hydrogen, the base fuel of stellar combustion. This material does not drift freely. It follows a transfer arc, spiraling inward along a gradient of gravitational pressure, and it accumulates on the surface of the white dwarf in a dense, compacting layer. This is not metaphorical cannibalism. This is literal parasitic extraction. The white dwarf is dismantling its companion one plasma layer at a time, and it is storing the extracted material on its own surface as an ever-thickening ocean of hydrogen. That ocean is not stable. It was never designed to be stable. Hydrogen under sufficient pressure and temperature does not remain inert. It waits. It compacts. It reaches a threshold of density that the underlying white dwarf surface cannot contain without initiating a reaction. And when that threshold is crossed, the reaction is not gradual. It is not incremental. It is instantaneous and total. The white dwarf does not explode. Not yet. The surface layer explodes, a thermonuclear detonation across the entire skin of a planetary-scale object. The energy release is catastrophic. The luminosity spikes by factors that compress the entire output of our sun into a brief, violent interval of time. This has happened before. The same system, the same mechanism, the same result. The historical record confirms at least 2 prior events from this system that were significant enough to register in Earth's observational record. The most recent was 1946. Before that, 1866, roughly 80 years apart. A cycle, a reloading interval. The white dwarf strips enough material, the ocean of hydrogen reaches critical mass, the surface ignites, the material is expelled, and then
the cycle restarts. The white dwarf begins stripping again. The ocean begins rebuilding. By 2026, the ocean has been building for 80 years.
The mathematics are not complicated. The interval between 1866 and 1946 event was 80 years. The interval since 1946 has exceeded 80 years. The threshold has been met, then surpassed again. Initial projections identified a window beginning in 2024. Astronomers logged behavioral changes in the system consistent with pre-nova suppression, a dimming. T Coronae Borealis dropped in brightness in a pattern that matched the pre-event dimming observed in 1945, immediately before the 1946 detonation. The signal was clear. The interpretation was straightforward. The system was loading. 2024 passed without detonation. Projections were revised to 2025. The system remained in suppressed state. The dimming held. The behavioral signatures persisted. The pre-event pattern continued without resolving into the event itself. 2025 passed without detonation. We are now in 2026. The timer has not simply expired. The timer has been sitting at zero for over a year. The hydrogen ocean on the surface of the white dwarf has not merely reached critical threshold, it has exceeded it. Pressure continues to build. Temperature continues to accumulate. The surface of the white dwarf is carrying a thermonuclear load that has been overdue for ignition for months, possibly longer. There is no mechanism that prevents this indefinitely. There is no pressure relief valve. There is no additional stage of delay that the system can invoke. The architecture of the detonation is complete. The fuel is loaded. The compression is at or beyond the ignition threshold. What remains is only the final microscopic trigger, a quantum fluctuation, a cascading reaction at the base of the hydrogen layer, an instability that propagates faster than measurement. This event could occur during the reading of this sentence. It could occur tonight. It could have occurred yesterday, and the light has not yet reached us. The uncertainty window is not months, it is not weeks. The uncertainty window is effectively zero. We are inside the detonation interval now. We are not approaching it. We are in it.
When the surface of T Coronae Borealis ignites, the event will not be subtle. The hydrogen ocean detonates in a runaway thermonuclear reaction. Not a slow burn, not a gradual brightening, a single catastrophic energy release, propagating across the entire surface of the white dwarf in a window measured in seconds. The plasma layer, compressed over 80 years of parasitic accumulation, converts its potential energy into radiant output simultaneously. The luminosity increase is not incremental. It is a step function, off and then violently on. The apparent magnitude of T Coronae Borealis will shift from 10 to approximately 2. This is not a modest increase. Each unit on the magnitude scale represents a brightness factor of roughly 2.5. Moving 8 units towards zero is a brightness increase measured in the thousands. A star that was categorically invisible to the naked eye will become as luminous as Polaris, the North Star, the navigational anchor of the Northern Hemisphere night sky. It will be visible from inside cities, through light pollution, through atmospheric haze, without instruments, without preparation, without warning. A point of light will appear in Corona Borealis that was not there the night before. It will sit in the arc of the northern crown like an eighth component that the constellation was never catalogued as containing. It will remain visible without instruments for days, potentially weeks, a persistent, unscheduled intrusion into a sky that the human population has been conditioned to treat as fixed. This is not a spectacle. Do not classify it as such. What you will be observing is the aftermath of a stellar surface being atomically destroyed at a distance of 3,000 light-years. The photons reaching your retina will carry the energy signature of a thermonuclear event operating at a scale that renders every nuclear detonation in human history a statistical rounding error. The light is not beautiful. The light is evidence. Evidence of mass destruction traveling at the universal speed limit, arriving at your position after a journey of 3 millennia, still carrying enough intensity to register without optical aid. The scar will fade. Over weeks, the luminosity will drop. The white dwarf's surface will cool. The expelled material will disperse. T Coronae Borealis will return to magnitude 10, invisible again, quiet again, and the extraction will resume. The red giant will continue to be consumed. The ocean will begin rebuilding. The 80-year clock will reset. The system does not register the event as terminal. Only we assign it that weight.
T Coronae Borealis is 3,000 light-years from Earth. Allow that number to resolve fully before continuing. 1 light-year is the distance light travels in a vacuum over the course of 1 full year, at 299,000 kilometers per second, sustained for 365 days without interruption or deviation. 3,000 light-years is that distance compounded 3,000 times. It is a number that language was not built to accurately represent. The event we are waiting for did not happen in 2024. It did not happen in 2025. It did not happen in 2026. The explosion of T Coronae Borealis happened 3,000 years ago. The white dwarf's surface ignited during the Bronze Age. Civilizations that no longer exist were building their founding structures while the thermonuclear shockwave was already in transit. Empires rose and collapsed in the interval between the detonation and this moment. The entire recorded span of Western history has unfolded inside the delivery window of this single event. The light has been traveling since before the concept of a light year existed to describe it. What we are waiting for tonight is not an explosion. The explosion is over. The explosion has been over for 3 millennia. What we are waiting for is the arrival of the information, the photons, the leading edge of a radiation front that left a dead star's surface before Homer spoke a word, before iron replaced bronze, before the oldest currently standing monument was completed, and has been crossing dark vacuum ever since. Silent, unimpeded, moving at the only speed it is capable of moving, delivering a message that has been in transit longer than any human institution. The sky is not what you see. The sky is what was. Every point of light in the visible night sky is a historical document, not a present tense observation. The further the source, the older the information. T Coronae Borealis is showing us a 3,000-year-old event as if it were current news. And tonight, that event is close enough to the delivery threshold that the window of expected arrival encompasses this specific moment in time. We are waiting for a ghost, not a metaphorical ghost, a literal signal from a dead event traveling through the dark at the maximum permitted velocity of the universe, arriving now because the geometry of space and time dictates that now is when 3,000 years of transit concludes. The detonation has already happened. The dead star has already burned. The light is already here, or it is one more night away, or it has not yet cleared the outer orbital boundary of our solar system and will arrive before the next rotation of Earth completes. We do not know which. We cannot know which. The information that would tell us is, by definition, the same information we are waiting to receive. There is a ghost in Coronae Borealis, carrying a message from the Bronze Age. The message is a thermonuclear scar, and we are standing at the delivery address.